Hi, how are you? So imagine you're sitting in your office. You look out the window, there's a train track running past your office. And this train just never stops. It's full of endless carriages. And in those carriages are your prospects. They're not all your prospects, but there's lots of your prospects in each one of those carriages. And it's endless, it just never stops, it keeps going. And there's a station for this train just up the road from your office. So what you need to do is go up to the station, buy a ticket, get on the train, start walking down the carriages and saying hi to the people that are a good fit for your business. So the question is, how do you do that? So when you think about what LinkedIn is, there's three things I want you to think about. One is a database, and I'll show you some of the stats in a minute. So you can go search that database using filters to find the ideal prospect for your type of business, if you know how to do that. So it's a research database, or a sales and marketing, lead generation, or prospecting database. It's a publishing platform, so like your WordPress blog, except it goes to the zillions of people on LinkedIn, so you can put your messaging in front of your ideal prospects. So it's a publishing platform. And it's a CRM, so a customer relationship management system, so you can tag, save leads, segment them, all in the same place. There's two, ignoring recruiting, there's two basic versions of LinkedIn. There's the basic version and what's probably commonly known as the premium version of Sales Navigator. So I'm going to talk about a combination of both. If you're going to use LinkedIn in a sophisticated fashion, you do kind of need both. It's relatively inexpensive in terms of your sales and marketing budget. Okay, some interesting stats. 500 million users, mostly in the B2B space. 100 million of them are active, and 40 million of those are decision makers. 40 million B2B decision makers in a database that you can go search. Microsoft paid 26 billion a couple of years back to buy it. The stated goal is they want to take it from 500 million to 3 billion users. So it's a train you want to get on and walking down the carriages of. It's the #1 B2B marketing channel, social media platforms. If you're in B2B, business to business, this is the channel you need to be leveraging. Half of the traffic that comes from social media platforms to B2B websites comes from LinkedIn. It's the dominant source. So you kind of need to be walking up and down that train. Who knows who I am, just out of curiosity? Knows the print coach? God, I always think I've got some people know who I am. I've been doing this for 10 years in this space, and we're good at what we do, and I still find loads of people who don't know me, which is exciting. All new opportunities for growth. So I'm just going to give you literally a minute of my background. I was born on a farm in the south of Ireland, so I was born into a small business, so it was a 90-acre farm. I left home when I was 16 and spent the next 8 years failing in the world of sales. And just to give you an idea of what failing in the world of sales looks like, my first job, commission only in sales, I got fired after 48 hours. I don't know how bad you have to be to get fired for commission only in 2 days, but I ticked that box. About 8 years later, I'm working for Pitney Bowes up in Queensland and Far North Queensland in Australia, trying to sell capital equipment. Desperate need of help. I persuaded our top salesperson in the region to coach me for 3 days, followed him around, taught me a few really basic fundamentals of sales. And within about 18 months, I went from the bottom 5% to the top 1%. I pretty much stayed there for the rest of my sales career with a few good fundamentals. What that tells you is you don't need to be an actual salesperson to be good at sales. You just need some skills, and skills are learnable. So there's 5 steps. It's a 5-step process. I'm going to show you 4 of the steps today because we're restricted for time. The step I'm not going to go through is the content publishing section, so we're going to go through the other 4 steps. Thank you. Okay, so the first step we're going to go through is, can you go back one? This is going to be so much fun. We'll talk about niching, profiling, finding and connecting. So we'll talk about niching first. So there's two ways you can niche. What you do not want to do is go onto LinkedIn and go, we have a product or a service that's a fit for everybody. Okay? Because that will get you nothing. Because if you're trying to be everything to everybody, you end up being nothing to anybody. So you want to say, here's my space. So if you're in this space, I'm a good fit for you. And the two easiest ways to define a space is by niching either in a sector or across a product speciality. If I say we have a B2B selling system, consultative selling system, am I being a product or a sector specialist? Product specialist, right, exactly. Next one. If I said I'm in the automotive sector or product? Sector. Great, thank you. What about if I said I'm in labels? Nice to know. Product, exactly. So does that make sense? So just choose either a sector or a product speciality, because if you're trying to do all of it, you won't do any of it. None of it will work. Okay, thank you. Let's talk about the next step, profiling. So if you went on to LinkedIn and put in the name John Smith, and you got 100 names would pop up, most of those, and you looked at every one of the profiles, the vast majority of those profiles would read like a CV. That's brilliant if what? Why would that be good? If you're looking for a job, that's brilliant. But you're probably not on LinkedIn if you're looking for a job. I'm imagining you're looking for clients, right? So your profile needs to look like a sales and marketing profile, not like a CV. So the CV is, started with this company on this date, worked for them in this role for that date, then I started this other company, this other role for the other date, and then I started in my current job and my current role, and I'm still with them. Brilliant. Yeah. But you're not looking for a job. So don't write it like it's a CV, write it like it's a piece of sales and marketing. And there's a really easy system we've developed. So you just answer half a dozen questions. And literally, the way I've done it so far, I literally write the head of the question and fill in the blank, as you'll see in a second. So I'll give you a couple of other things as well. Next one, thank you. So first thing, I've seen some awful photographs on LinkedIn. I've seen photographs of cats and dogs. It's sales and marketing. If you were writing a brochure, putting your collateral up on your website, would you, for your face, would you put up a picture of your pet? Or would you put up a picture of you drunk on a cruise, or sitting in the beach with your dog and a glass of wine in your hand? This is the type of stuff you see. It's a professional networking platform, so treat it like that. So a couple of simple things. Professional photograph, and I mean a professional photograph. You can walk into a photographer on the high street, get your spouse to take a nice picture of you against a clean background on your smartphone. You don't need to spend £250 on it. You can do it for free in 5 minutes. Just look at the camera, smile, wear something white for your top. Collared shirt is typically best. Nothing complicated. They're pretty simple. Look, smile, easy. Thank you. So here's the question to you. So literally, I've got that question on my website, and then I fill in the answer. What do we do? So we help B2B companies find, win, keep and grow ideal clients at premium pricing. I also work with management teams to help them execute on the business goals faster so they produce superior financial results. That's what we do. So if you're looking for that and you read that, you probably go, you should connect with that person, because there might be some leverage in it at some stage in the future. Could you answer that question for your business? How complicated? Thank you, by the way. You'll be concentrating all day long. So next question is, who do I work with? So I work with senior management teams, business owners, sales directors, new business salespeople, and account managers. So anybody on the business growth sales side of the organization, we work with those people. And usually we work with all of them when we work with the company to grow the bottom line and the top line of the business. So could you answer that question? Could you say who you work with? you know? Yeah. Owners of printing companies, production managers, ops people. Next one. This is a very important question to answer. What makes me different? So what I've said is, I've developed a number of proven, simple, step-by-step systems that are financially guaranteed will produce predictable and scalable business results. That's what makes me different. The step-by-step systems, just like you're looking at now, and we know they work, so we're financially guaranteed the work we do. That's what makes me different. And you need a call to action in sales and marketing. If you went to see a prospect about a potential piece of business like they did at the meeting, you probably want the next step, wouldn't you? Probably go to, we'll meet again in 2 weeks' time, we'll review the needs you've given us today, and we'll put together a proposition to help you solve the problems you told us you have. So it'll be a next step. So you want the next logical step. Saying, join our newsletter is not the next logical step. That's not a good call to action. Phone us for, call me about, download this. So some call to action where you engage with them. Is there anybody here desperate to go back and join the newsletter? Anybody unsubscribing fairly regularly to newsletter? Yeah, we're all unsubscribing. That's the most common link that I look for in newsletters these days. So call to action. LinkedIn likes multimedia, it's not critical. So we've got a video and a couple of images, the bottom of my profile. Not critical, that would be a nice next step, but it's not critical at the moment. And literally, you can see what that's taken from my profile. So I've got the questions, and then I answer them. It's literally like, get the template, type out the answers, paste it into LinkedIn, and you'll have a great profile in probably 30 minutes. So when somebody looks at it, they go, sounds like an interesting guy, girl, should connect, might be some use in it. So the next thing you want to do is you want to go find, out of that 500 million prospects, 100 million of them that are active, the 40 million that are decision makers, you want to go in and go searching. So it's brilliant. So can you see that screen from where you all are? Yeah. So these are the search profiles you can do, and there's more below. But you don't need to use them all. So I've picked 4 here. So I said I want to look in the geographic area of the Milton Keynes. So that's the only area I'm interested in. I'm looking for, and I put in accountants and lawyers, so professional services companies. I want the partner level, so somebody that's a partner or above, so not administrators, etc. And I'm looking for between, I think I said between 51 and 500 staff in the organisation. So pretty simple search, but it goes into that 500 million, and within seconds it gives me a list of, we got a list of 47. I can tweak, so I can go in here and adjust any of these search criteria, make the list smaller by typing up the search, and make it bigger by loosening the search. You know, make the geographic search bigger. Okay, thank you. Does that make sense, by the way? Pretty simple. So I can go tweak the search criteria in here. The other thing I can do is, you'll see this save and add tag. So if I come across profiles that look interesting, like in the CRM system, I can save them as a search. So the next time I go in, I can just click on that search and that list will pop up for me. I don't have to keep doing the same search again and again and again. And the other thing that's brilliant, if somebody new joins LinkedIn and they're a fit for the profile I've previously put in, they're automatically in my search next time it comes up. I don't have to go search again. And I can tag them. So simple things. If I do corporate hosting, corporate entertainment activities, and one of the things we do is a golf day, and I look through profiles and I see out of that 47, there's 7 people that like golf. I can tag them as golf. So then if I'm doing a golf entertainment day for my client-based prospects, click on that tag, those 7 come up, send them out a message saying we're doing a corporate golf day. If you love golf and somebody says we're doing corporate golf day at some club you'd like to go play at, who'd be interested in going to that? You would, wouldn't you? Because you go, it's right in my space. So very clever, simple things you can do with saving leads and tags. This is an extra bonus tip. Not everybody that asks to join your network is a good fit, and not everybody that turns up in the search profile that came up is a good fit as well. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So we've said here, so we've got Jonathan. I've said he's good, he's got 500 plus connections, and he's got a complete profile. So we've got a picture, 500 plus connections. We've got common connections, 7 of them. Our best pat in is through David, and I can see he's been recently on LinkedIn in the last 4 days. So he's active on LinkedIn. Let's look at a different example. So again, so here we've got somebody with no picture, and has got 146 connections, and there's pretty much nothing else in there. So you remember, for the people who were here at the beginning, remember I gave you the metaphor of the train? The first profile I showed you says the person bought a ticket for the train, they're sitting in the carriage, and they're constantly on that train. What this profile says is the same different person bought a ticket for the train, but they don't go on the train, they just bought a ticket. So if you go on the train, they're probably not there. So if you're trying to communicate with them on LinkedIn, the probability is you're not going to get a response because they're not leveraging LinkedIn, they're not active on it. So when you're looking at the list that comes up, you're looking for a completed profile and about 500 connections. It's not a black and white rule. I break it periodically for people I want to get in connection with, and it's also good for just getting some extra information about the people you might be searching. Okay, great. And again? Okay. Very important principle, probably the most important principle of the whole thing. People do not join LinkedIn so other people can sell to them. So if your first approach is, would you like to buy my stuff, in any guise you put it in, you're undermining your professional ability to add value to that person's life, and you won't be interested in connecting with you.
Attention everyone.
People join LinkedIn, it's the same reason they join other professional networking groups. They want advice, they want to solve problems. They don't want to be sold to. The reason that's important is the way you approach them has to be different to what 99.5% of people are doing on LinkedIn. You have to do something different. So I'll show you how to do that, and it's pretty simple. So we call this the messaging strategy, and the messaging strategy has got 6 steps, and literally you follow it step by step by step, from 1 through to 6. It's really simple. I'll show you examples of the messages. Very simple to execute. It takes a few seconds longer than what people normally do, but it works. In our own data, it works about 40% of the time in terms of us getting a connection with somebody we want to make a connection with. In B2B sales and marketing, that's a phenomenal success rate, a 40% success rate at scale. So we're doing this every week. I've got my system doing this every week. So the first thing is you've got to send out a request to get connected. Okay, don't do this. Hi Nick, can I join your LinkedIn connection? Fred. Why do you not want to do that? Don't want to be sold. What's everybody else doing? Who sees that message coming into your inbox and pretty much ignores it? Yeah, raise your hands just so everybody gets it, right? And you're classic on what everybody else is doing. So do something like this. Now, we've got probably 10 or 12 of these types of messages. We test them. I'm going to show you 2 different ones. These 2 work consistently well. So literally what we have is we have these messages pasted into a Word document. We cut and paste into LinkedIn, fill in 2 blanks, and send. So it's personalization at scale. So you don't need to retype it every time. So all this says is, hi John, came across your profile recently and it looks like we have mutual connections across, fill in the blank. Milton Keynes business sector. Given we have a common interest in the local business community, does it make sense to connect here on LinkedIn? Catch up soon, Nick Devine. Now if you're on the receiving end of that, it looks like I searched you out, looked like good connection. wrote a custom message and hit send. Because that's what 40% of people resonate with. Here's a different version. Hi John, just doing some work on LinkedIn in relation to a number of people I work with at, I could say HP, the printing industry, the retail sector, electronics, automotive, whatever your space is. I came across your profile and wanted to reach out to see if you're happy to connect. I do a lot of work with people in this sector, so there should be good synergies. Catch up soon, Nick. Pretty simple. Literally, you can take that message, fill in the blank, and you're good to go. So next. So we send the message out, 40% of people accept, get a message back, hi Nick, happy to connect, or they'll just hit the accept button, but they've connected with you. So what that says is they've given their attention, they've given their time, they've given potential access to their network to you. What do you want to say? Somebody does something for you, what do you want to say? Thanks. So just send them a thank you. Nobody sends a thank you, so you immediately send out. Thank you is really simple. In the Word document with the other messaging templates, copy and paste, fill in the person's name, hit send. I mean, 5 seconds if they have plenty of time. Dave, thanks for accepting my invitation to connect. I've built a robust network on LinkedIn. I have some people in my network who can provide expertise in everything from luxury travel to real estate investing. If I can ever introduce you to someone, I'd be happy to. Just let me know how I can help Nick. What have I asked for? Nothing. What have I offered? Access to my network. So I'm adding value as opposed to trying to extract value. So I've asked for connection, said thanks, try to add some value. Make sense so far? 2 of your 6 messaging steps done. Mike, thanks for connecting with me on LinkedIn, allowing me to be part of your network. I believe this message is the one that works best at the moment of all the ones we've tested. I believe one of the most important assets we have in business is the network context we develop. If I can ever introduce you to any of my connections or provide networking support, let me know. Nick. It's a nice message, soft touch, add value, works great. Can you all copy and paste? You're good to go, you've got all the skills you need. Okay, so we've done step 1, which is the invitation, step 2, which is the thank you. Now we're going to do step 3 and 4, which is add value. So I'll show you what this looks like. This is really simple. So do something unexpected that adds value. So here's a simple example of that. Hi Andrew, read this article a few days ago and thought you might find it valuable. It provides a very good update on some of the important changes happening in fill in the blank, with a link to the article. I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on it after you've read it. Catch up soon, Nick. So we're looking for a little bit of engagement. Now, what's the article? It could be anything. It could be to do with your space. It could be to do with the power of personalization and marketing. It could be to do with print in the multi-channel marketing world. It could be 10 time management tips for busy executives. I mean, anything that adds value. Good if it's in your space, but it could be just general business added value. It doesn't have to be in your space, better if it is. So you might do that in week 2, and then you might do another one in week 3. The exact same thing. Tweak the words, obviously. So find 2 pieces of good content. You can either what we call create or curate. Create is you write it, curate or somebody in the team writes it, or curate it is you find it out in the wonderful world of the web. Put it in a document, nice PDF. I just put the link to the article, hit send, you're done. So that's add value 1 and add value 2. So at some stage you want to engage. So we've tested a lot of different messaging in here. This one works pretty good. I saw that we're trying different messages here, so we're getting good results with a number of them. So we're trying to work out which ones are working best at the moment. So this is one of the ones that's working best. So we're both connected with, and you'll have the common connections on your LinkedIn profile, John Smith. And I wanted to reach out to you. I've worked with John over the last 3 years to get benefit 1 and resolve problem 2. Here's what he had to say about the work we did. 1 sentence, not a long success story. It would be great to chat sometime and learn more about your business situation. Do you have time for a brief exploratory phone call anytime next Wednesday or Thursday afternoon? Also, I can share with you 3 simple and commonly overlooked, some benefit to the client. Print marketing strategies, there's 7 in total that most of our clients are currently using, which means they're getting a higher ROI on their print spend. Let me know what works best in terms of time to meet. So you'll have to tweak a version of that. So that's where you're getting into let's connect up. Here's a different one. John, we've been connected on LinkedIn for a while, but don't really know each other yet. That's going to be a very common situation. As much as I love all this social media stuff, I actually like to get to know my connections. Would you be open to a short phone call and maybe grabbing a coffee sometime? I'm meeting some clients in your neck of the woods at lunchtime next Thursday. Would you 15 minutes late morning to meet? I'd like to get to know more about you, your business, your situation, so I can work out how we can help each other. Soft touch, but I'm now moving from online to offline. Make sense? So personalized connection request, say thanks, add value twice, get to a call to action, and then you move into the publishing on the LinkedIn kind of blog platform, which we won't go into today. Okay, and the phone is a fantastic tool. It's not all about online social media. So what we often say to our clients, pick up the damn phone. Hi John, we've been talking on LinkedIn for 3 months. So I pick up the phone, say hi. I'm in your area next Thursday. You've got time for a Starbucks. I know this is one down the road for you. What's your favourite hot drink? Something light touch, casual, but you want to get from online to offline. You can't do all of the selling on social media. Make sense? Cool. Okay. SMS messaging is very effective. You get the mobile phone number, so send an SMS, that get a response. Send email. The wonderful world of print. Print is actually working very well. So what we get our clients to do is print a box full of note cards. You have the person's name, your contact details, and the rest of it is blank. Hi Fred, we've been on LinkedIn for 2 months, thought I'd take it offline. Hope things are going well with you. I'll give you a call next week, Nick. That's going to get people's attention. I remember meeting the chairman of St. James's Place, a FTSE 100 listed company, and for something like 35 years, think about this, 35 years, he sent out 3 note cards a day, every day, 5 days a week, 48 weeks a year, 25 plus years. That's impressive, that's discipline. But they're a FTSE 1 listed 100 company. Now you go, how did they get there? By being very good at getting customers and sales and marketing. You go, I'm the chairman of a FTSE 100 company. I don't have time to write note cards 3 times a day. His view is he didn't have time not to do it because it was so effective. Yeah? So mix your channels to marketing. Phone, SMS, email, something in the post, back on LinkedIn, different modes of communication. So would you hand some of those out to me? Would you? Well, I'm going to give you some contact sheets. If you want to get copies of these slides and from the other presentations I'm doing, either fold in a business card in there, or just fill in the contact details. There's 6 different presentations. You can't keep up with the speed, right? You can't handwrite all those messages. So we'll send you the slides and you literally copy the messages from there. And I'll send you a couple of other surprises.
Attention everyone, I'm delighted to announce the winner of our first prize draw here at the Print Show 2018. The winner is Paul Hammond from Magic Memories Group UK. Paul, please come and collect your prize at the organiser's office in 15 minutes, and you have won an Amazon Alexa. Thank you.
Cool. Questions? Questions about search? Okay, great, thank you. Paul, is it? Yeah, Paul. Okay, so what Paul said is one of the first million, did you say, on LinkedIn? He's got 4,000 contacts. So the easiest way to think about this is when we start talking to our clients and to bring us in to help them grow their business, the first thing we do is we build up the foundation And the first two pieces in the foundation are who you sell to and what you sell. And I don't mean your product and service, I mean your value proposition. So who you sell to and what you sell to them. When we go who you sell to, we start with what we call the Dream 100 list. So of all the people who could possibly buy the thing you sell, you want to create a list, a well-researched list of a Dream 100 and go work that 100. So I'd go take that 4,000 and I'd start tightening up the search criteria and get down to a list of 100 and then start messaging, note cards, phone calls, SMS, email, back through the cycle again, other contacts in the same company. You can't sell to 4,000 people, it's too big. So just, I mean, tag 100 of them, the best 100, and devote your time to that. It's a good question, Paul. Yeah, it's a good question. So how long have you been on? Our first million, brilliant question. Okay, you've got a question?
Yeah, you mentioned multi-channel as a term. Cross-media, they're also talking about. I just wondered why you use different words or whether they've got a different meaning or how you describe them.
So cross-media, multi-channel, it's all the same thing. It's like saying wide format, large format, different people use different words for the same thing. So the key message is don't constrain yourself to just LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn as a channel, use other channels, and the end goal you're looking for is get off of LinkedIn. And that might be the first thing you do is have a phone call, and the next thing you do is meet face to face. You can't sell deals on LinkedIn. Your goal is to just get a connection, start the conversation, and then move on. Okay, great question, thank you. Interesting question. So the question is, I'll rephrase the question. Is it better to have a company profile or a personal profile? So the way to answer that question is think about the purpose. So if you're going to a networking event, do you go or do you send a company to go? If you're meeting a client from an ideal, prospect from an ideal client, do you send a company or do you go? It's personal networking. So the piece that has the biggest leverage, if you're a big company, if you're IBM or Canon or Xerox or Recon, there'll be a company profile. But your profile is the important piece because it's a personal connection, it's networking. And so your personal connection is the piece you want to focus on. So very good question. Excellent. We get good questions. Ultimately, so the question is, I'm working my 100, if it's 100 I'm working on, how do I know the decision maker? You don't know for certain, so let's just take in my situation. We work with owners. If it's a big company, so if we were working with Xerox, we've worked with Xerox, I'm probably not going to be dealing with the chairman of Xerox. So I'm going to take some educated guesses. It might be a divisional manager, it might be a country manager, and I'm going to find out in the process. That may mean I pick up the phone and go, I talk to somebody, and here's a great tip, by the way. If you're targeting bigger organizations, the salespeople in those organizations are an incredible source to you. So literally, if I was phoning Xerox, I would phone up a salesperson in Xerox and go, I'm a salesperson at ABC company. We work with, name the title you typically work with, who would be the best person for me to talk to? A salesperson is going to help another salesperson. So that probably, I'd search using my filters, and then I'll probably pick up the phone to the sales function. Another thing you can do is what's called the appropriate person. So I might send either a LinkedIn messaging or a warm email to, dear Fred, I was hoping to get in contact with the appropriate person. So appropriate person who deals with X, is that you? If not, can you let me know who it is? So either phone the sales department or you, Robert. Okay, so what the question Robert asked is if you're at the beginning of this process and you've got 0 contacts, what do you do? So essentially you do the exact same thing. So the only thing you say differently is, over the years I've built up a large network offline. I'm now in the process of connecting online with them. And then the exact same message. So you're just distinguishing those connections are offline at the moment and you're moving into the online world. Yeah? everything else then remains true? It's a good question. I'm involved in a business in a completely different sector. It's in the fire protection industry. And when our engineers go out to service fire protection equipment, we get them to call, if it's an industrial estate, we get them to walk around the industrial estate and touch base with other businesses to see if we can pick up business while we're there. But for most of the stuff we're doing B2B, I wouldn't do that. I'd use print marketing, LinkedIn, warm email, telephone, trade show exhibitions, offline networking events, whole lumpy mail, three-dimensional mail, and a portfolio of other things I'd be doing. Good question. We'll take one more. Okay, so if you're messaging and people don't respond, you keep going. So we move to the what I call the back burner strategy. So you're in the kitchen, you're cooking your meal, it's pretty much cooked, it's on the front burner. You want to keep it warm, but you're not cooking it anymore, you move to the back burner and leave it there. So remember I said there's 5 phases to the system. The 5th phase is the publishing phase. That's where you stop the direct messaging and you publish content, which is a strategy we didn't go through today. So they'll still see you periodically, you'll be on front of mind, and when an opportunity comes up to do the thing you do, they'll go, oh, I should contact because I see them periodically and they seem to be good at what they do. So that's the way you would do that. Yeah? So you wouldn't devote personal time to somebody who's not responding after your initial kind of outbound phase. Good question. Okay, how are we doing for time? So I'm back in 5 minutes. What am I doing next? Hello? I'm selling value-added services. We'd like to know how to do that. Selling value-added services? Okay, so hang around if you want to do that. If you've done this card thing, yeah, if you do, brilliant, great. So I'll grab those from you. So if you want copies of the slides, so okay, great.